my God, at that point, it doesn't matter. We're not going to be sitting here taking, little measurements and everything, you're going to get a little lab coat and everything. You're like, okay, we're going to just drippity drop and just see how much more we're going to get out of that. No, they're both good bangs for the buck. Heyo! Welcome back for another episode of What the Fizz. What the Fizz is sparkling reviews for foos. This is where we review all of the sparkling water drinks. The drinks. We're going to take it and we're going to make the review. Yes. This show is where I take two different sparkling water drinks and I proceed to review them and give them a rating throughout the episode. So let's get this kicked off. For today, what I've got here is, first and foremost, the Mure. Just kidding. We actually have the Blackberry Perrier. Now, as far as I know with the Blackberry Perrier, this guy is newer. And so is this one, actually. It's about damn time. But San Pellegrino, at least here in Canada, finally came out with their own non-calorie rendition of the sparkling water drinks. Now, these two have pretty much been, as far as I can tell, for very good marketing, and right from the get-go, the two biggest in the sparkling water industry who have been there basically the longest. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's as far as that I know from what I've reviewed and researched. First things first, let's get it started with the Perrier. And so here it is, and based on some suggestions, upon the first couple of videos, people have come to me and been like, hey, why don't you just pour the can or the bottle and pour the portions into a drink? And so I'm like, okay, let's use an actual cup and do the sipping that way, and then you can kind of maybe get a more hands-on, fuller experience from that. So first thing is first, we've got the Perrier, the Blackberry. I'm pretty sure this is a newer guy here. I never noticed this on the shelf until very, very recently. The Blackberry doesn't come in a bottle. I have never seen it in one anyway. So these guys are the 10 packs, 250 mils, so that's 2.5 liters for a 10 pack. Sale price, best version you get is about $4.99. Regular price all the way from around $6.99-ish. That's where it starts at. So we're going to kick it off here with the first initial taste. I'm going to give this a little pour. Give me some more, a little pour, I don't know why I do the slow pour. It's like I like the fizziness, the fizzing up. It's filling the whole cup. Alright. So you see here, most of it, obviously, with these, they're not going to use any food coloring or anything like that. It's going to be all see-through, all clear, but I love that carbonated fizz. Alright, so first taste. Wow. Yeah, with that Blackberry, you can kind of tell it's got a little bit of that blueberry blend with it. In terms of the carbonation, I would say this guy's about like mid to low range of carbonation. Not too much, it's not too zingy. It kind of comes in just enough so you get that flavor, you get that taste. It's not so much so that it'll punch you in the face or anything like that, but it definitely resonates well on the tongue, you know. Goes down pretty smooth and whatnot. I would say first taste on this guy, very impressive, very impressive. It's sort of like if you had like a blueberry muffin but in water form. Ooh. Yeah, that first taste is definitely pretty impressive on that one. I'm gonna give that one a solid 8.3. Yeah, I'm really random with all of the ratings. Aftertaste. You know, see, it kind of dissipates. What I noticed is like you got that little bit of a rise when you're coming up with that initial flavor, but when it's actually coming right back down, it kind of dissipates. And might have to deduct points for that. I know it shouldn't always be that sort of significant drive like right through. You know, for some drinks and some flavors that might work out well, but for a guy like this, I would say it goes downhill pretty quickly on that. Not in terms of the taste, but I mean, you're not going to have that flavor as much as you would with some of the other common drinks. Aftertaste, I'm going to give it a flat 7. I would say on this, the balance, well, what the balance basically is what is blending the ratio between, you know, the carbonation, the smoothness, that first gradual taste as it's hitting your tongue, and then the aftertaste as it's going down. You know, what's going to resonate and keep it all grounded. Balance, it kind of trails off, right? Like as I was saying, like you got that first taste that was just like, you know, it's kind of zoom, you know, like a fast car, right? But the acceleration dips off, and then the speed of another car is going to keep the tempo as you go past that first 100 meters or so, you know what I mean? So the balance on this one, yeah, right around the aftertaste, I'm gonna give it a 7.0. Now, we're gonna give this a little bit higher rating in terms of how smooth it is, because it does go down honestly really smoothly. For something that is not very carbonated, it does actually do a little bit more justice. You know, and I really honestly think that, I'm pretty sure anyway, that the carbonation is what keeps a lot of that flavor and that balance and that smoothness kind of blend together and last a little bit longer. And without that stronger carbonation, it kind of dips out real quick. So smoothness on this guy, I will have to give this one, let's give it a solid 8. We're gonna talk about that flavor. But no, the actual flavor. The flavor here, we're gonna be giving this one, I think a solid like 7.5. You know, it kind of, you know, I have to take into consideration the aftertaste versus the first taste and everything considered when determining the taste. And again, once again with that carbonation, I'm pretty sure that that's what's causing this to lose a little bit of that flavor, but it's definitely worth it, right? The flavor, the value for the buy, value for quantity in dollar, you're looking at a pretty good deal. I mean, again, you don't have this in bottle form. You don't really have a lot of Blackberry options when it comes to any of the sparkling water drinks currently at the moment from what I've seen or tried. But for what it's worth, if you can land this guy for the 10-pack around $4.99, you're good to go. So overall value, yeah, let's give this, let's give it a 7.6. You know, just edge it a little up, top that little bad boy up. Just gonna give it a little bit of an edge there, simply because, you know, that first taste and the smoothness is actually pretty good in comparison to everything else. So good on you, Perrier. You know, you guys keep experimenting, keep doing your thing. You guys are one of my favorites for a reason, right? And you know what? Gotta give credit for it being in a can. You know, I tend to lean towards more so the bottles, depending on, you know, maybe with the exception of the bubblies. I found that the taste in the bottles is kept with a little bit more resonance and, you know, kind of hits you on a deeper level a little bit. But good on you. Moving along. Drink number 2. Okay, San Pellegrino. So let me tell you something here about the San Pellegrino. We've got the Mandarini Frise de Bois. No, the I can't do the French really well. You know, I took French in grade 7, grade 8, but you know, all that elementary and all that stuff too, but it's not faring well for me. Okay, so San Pellegrino. You know, they've always had they've been very famous for their non-flavors, right? Their standard San Pellegrino and the one, of course, that's in the tall glass bottle, which I'll be reviewing shortly. And those they've done a fantastic job with. Where they have lacked actually is where there's 0-calorie drinks with different flavors, you know, that you get from all of their competitors. They've done a very good job with, like, say, like the blood orange, and I think they got like the lemon lime, the drinks with the juice, you know, that's carbonated. It's actually very close to the Orangina. You know, I'm going to be getting into those reviews, I think, as well too. But we're going to start off obviously focusing on all the 0-calorie drinks. So kicking this guy off here with the newer, I'm assuming, because I haven't seen it anywhere, newer tangerine and wild strawberry. Perfect. 330 milliliters, right? Comes in an 8-pack, also on sale for about $4.99, running at about $6.99. So you can see that competitive drive where they're trying to be competitive with Perrier and brands alike, you know, but obviously I think that direct competitor is Perrier versus San Pellegrino, and I think it's been like that for a long time. So with this, you're going to be getting approximately close to 2.65 liters, slightly, a little drippity dip. You're going to be getting a little bit more with that than you would be for the Perrier, but oh my god, at that point, it doesn't matter. We're not going to be sitting here taking, you know, little measurements and everything, you know, getting a little lab coat and everything. You're like, okay, we're going to just drippity drop and just see how much more we're going to get out of that. No, they're both good bangs for the buck. So I think when you're looking at the value for the dollar, they've both got a lot locked down. First, crack it. Back to the glass. Let's get this game going. I'm pouring. I better look at this thing. I'm gonna miss. Oh yeah. Peeing in a cup. Nobody likes peeing in a cup. Unless it's this kind of peeing in a cup. Because there's a kind you drank that's kind of delicious. I forgot to kind of go over the smell. Blackberry has like... Blackberry, honestly, like virtually none, right? Again, I think it might have something to do with the carbonation. Smell here, the San Pellegrino. Oh yeah, strong flavor in that smell. Wow, then you know there's got a kind of a punchiness to it. bitter, just crunch, fulfilling, you know. First taste. Whoa, so many things going on at one time there, but not in a bad way. Holy. That first taste. You know when you have like those Hubba Bubba, this Hubba Bubba bubblegum candies where you chew and you blow the gum and everything like that? It's honestly like one of those. Like when you bite into one of those, you know, and you're 30 seconds into chewing it, it's got kind of that tinge of flavor to it. And I don't mean that in a bad way, you know, because I think that those are really good. But if you can put some sort of bubblegum into the form of this, then I think it does it justice. Sort of strange, I found, with like the wild strawberry and the tangerine mix, but you know what? Kudos to them for reaching outside of the box and just exploring that avenue. First taste, you know, gotta give them points for creativity on that one. First taste, let's match it up there with the Blackberry. I'm gonna give that an 8.3. See, this guy's got a little bit more of the carbonation. This is definitely more of a mid-range carbonation as opposed to the other one. See, as that goes down, it actually dissipates a little bit as well. It still has some of that punchy flavor. It doesn't dissipate as quickly. I would say that the flavor definitely holds up a little bit longer. So instead of giving it a 7 like I gave the other one, I'm going to give this one 7.5. That being said, with having that balance, I think it's fair that I give the balance here close to about an 8. I'll give that a 7.9. Let's go. Let's call it a 7.9. You know, that fair balance. You're getting that everything's kind of coming together at once, right? It's like a big fruit explosion, you know, without obviously all the sugar that's going to be, you know, making you diabetic and whatnot. But again, we're reviewing the 0-calorie stuff, and you know what? You ain't getting fat from this. Okay, I should clarify that, you know, there are some researchers out there that say, you know, having too much of this stuff isn't good or anything, but in terms of caloric means, that's not what's going to get you fat. That's not what's going to get you there. I am no expert on that in the fitness level or anything, but I'd be willing to say that you're safe on this one. Rub-a-dub-dub, getting my bub. Now with the smoothness, I think this is where the creativity points take a little bit of a hit, because although this one has like a better aftertaste, it's a little bit sharper. It might be too sharp to the point where it's not as smooth as, say, you're drinking that one. You know, you're just slinging that one back and just like, whew, you know, like a drunken yachtsman down a river. This guy's got more of that, you know, it's kind of like wild flavor. You know, it's kind of like a rural flavor. So lean in a little bit more towards the bitter side, and not always a bad thing, of course. But with the smoothness on this, I would say this is about a 7.5. In terms of overall flavor you're getting in there, again, this is where the creativity actually helps them, because overall flavor, seems like they put a lot of work to get this one right. You know, you definitely don't see this one on the shelves anymore. But this is the first of these San Pellegrino of the 0-calorie variety that I've tried. So flavor, I'm going to give it an 8. Overall value, overall value on this one, I'm going to have to say, yeah, I'm going to give this one a solid 7.9. Let's call it a 7.9. You know, so overall, I mean, both bangs for buck, right? But at the end of the day, would I pick this one over that one? You know, it's all dependent on your mood. It's all dependent on what you're feeling that day and what's going on in your world, where you're like, hey, this is what's going on in my mind. That's what I want. That's what I'm going for. So they're both good. They're pretty much too close to call. So with that being said, we're going to move on. We are moving on to the final fusion. Not countdown. You thought I was going to say countdown, okay? We ain't playing that way right now. The final fusion is where I become completely idiotic, and I do something by taking some Tabasco. I take some of one of my top 5 all-time favorite hot sauces. I'm a hot sauce collector. I love hot sauce. I collect hot sauce and hockey jerseys among everything else. As far as the mainstream hot sauces go, Tabasco is definitely up there. One of the best. Could put it on basically anything. You know, if you want to hold that to me as a dare, laugh at me because they say I'll put it on anything. Well, I'll put it to the test. Put my money where my mouth is. Or the disgust. Or the sheer stupidity. God dang. Okay, so since I pulled up the glasses for that one, I figure we would just do this old school shot glass style. You know, when you turn 18, you know, I'm not sure how it is in many places, but here in Alberta, we would all do this thing. It's called a prairie fire, right? Prairie fire is where you buy your friend a drink. He turns 18. It's his 18th birthday. You guys are out at the bar, and his first drink is supposed to be a prairie fire, which consists of Tabasco and tequila. And it is like literally the worst drink of all time. So for as much as I love Tabasco, that is a freaking no-go. Absolutely not. Whoa, is it ever terrible. But they're not supposed to know about it until that happens, right? And then once that happens, it takes place, it's almost game over for your stomach. You know, you get all those cramps and everything, and you're gonna upchuck everywhere. But let's do this with some sense of stupidity and style. With the Tabasco. Now instead of this one where I put it on the tongue, I'm gonna actually dabble this one here. And there, so you can see that I am not cheaping out. I'm not being a little puss my gus. Okay? Putting that in here. We're going to do this all at the same time so you get to see that facial expression of mine when I am whining and dying, and I am literally dying. Put bad boy in there. Go half. Put that here in half. R.I.P. Easy as death to me. Cheers. Cheers. Hold my nips, hold my nips. Oh, Chia pet. Oh, that stuff is hitting right to the core. You know, maybe not as bad and as horrible as it was in the first video that I did. But you know what is funny about that is I think the balance that ended up saving the day here was the fact that the San Pellegrino does have a little bit more of that bitter taste, you know, which is offset from the Perrier kind of being a little bit tamer, and they kind of come together with the Tabasco and it like blends all well. So I wouldn't recommend this, by the way. I don't recommend this to anyone because this is not for taste or any of those reasons. It's just for pure comedic and entertainment value at the cost of me. So closing out, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will see you soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. So hope you stay real, and I'll stay Caveman.